We are Rocktops. We are a granite fabrication company in Kansas City. I would say we're probably the largest fabricator in Kansas City. We do a lot of new family, single home or single family new home construction. We do a lot of retail work, contractor, designer jobs. I met John at a Rockheads event. Gosh, it would have been, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago. That was helpful, obviously. Their events and the Rockheads, good organization to share best practices and see what everyone else around the country is doing. So, I mean, it was a good experience. But yeah, I met John through conversation and told him what I had going on at my business at the time. The business was growing rapidly. And this was probably back in 2018. Actually, I had started the business in 2013, and growth was, huge all the way up until I'd met John, and honestly through COVID. I started a conversation with John about our growth and how we got to this point where, as a one-man show, I needed some assistance with kind of structuring the team a little bit better as we would grow. Sub 40 employees, I could touch everything. I touched every job, I could be involved with every employee in every phase of the business. Once we started to surpass that 40 or 45 number of employees, it just got very difficult. And when you're growing at that rapid pace, it's hard to implement process, procedure, structure, the things that you need. It was more of me hiring people I know or friends, family. The good outweighed the bad, but there was still bad there. I couldn't implement certain things. People get complacent, stagnant, entitled. So I really wanted to lean on John to come in and essentially be that guy that created the process and allude to my team that I take direction from him, even though it really worked out well because I could sit in the background and tell him what I was trying to accomplish and he could help implement it. In 2013, I guess I'll go back a little bit. In 2004, I became a contractor, new home builder. When I say that, I did basement finishes, remodels. I didn't build new homes and pull bank loans at that time. I started doing that around 2006-07. It was bad timing, but I built maybe 20, 25 homes in that period, and I was able to get them all offloaded, sold, custom homes. I didn't have anything that I had to return back to a bank or default on, so I was able to stay afloat with some of my contracting work. A friend of mine owned a large manufacturing business, a stone veneer manufacturing business, and he asked me if I would come over and run his division for his new countertop shop. I didn't really know much about that industry, but I just kind of, obviously I had purchased countertops. And so I went back and back mathed some stuff and came up with my theory on how we would do this. And so I helped them get started in 2006-07. I did that for a couple of years. And then ultimately I was just too busy with my own works. Fast forward to maybe 2012, they called me back and wanted me to come over and run the company again. I did it for about 10 months and I realized that they were just broken and that there was no fixing what they had. Some of the people they had in place were the problem. I didn't want to have to be responsible for letting them all go, and ultimately they ended up offering me half of the company for nothing. And I told them I was going to go down the street, start my own granite company, that I would not pick on their work, I would not pick on their employees, and ultimately we ended up having a good relationship as I built my company. And then I ended up buying what I now call the lack of assets of their business in 2019. I needed their building. They had a 50,000 square foot building, undervalued lease that they didn't even know they had. And that was really what I was after, was able to pick up their lease that had 3 options on it. And it was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings that they put no value towards. So I could buy them out for $500,000, make some creative payments to the owner because we were friends. And I moved into their facility. They had 35 or 40 employees. And I think within a 3-month period, I took that down to 5. I had my own 55 or so. So we ended up around the 60 mark, probably 55, 60. And that's when I brought John into the equation. I met him at a meeting and just said, I need some help really structuring this company. John's personality is what won me over. His knowledge in the industry was great, but really I think the way he goes about business, his personality, essentially evaluate the business, circle back with me, tell me what he thought he could help with, and then we signed on pretty quickly with John. That's hard to say. It's hard to say. I had some key employees that were pushing for more structure, but they were getting pushed back from employees as well. I think we would have been slower, no doubt. He implemented traction, which formed regular meetings for us. He implemented process and procedure. He definitely helped to structure the business. And I think without that, I would have been years behind on it, quite honestly. That time, I think I had 92 employees and $150,000 a week in payroll. It was a little unsettling. We pulled through it just fine. We increased our business through 2022. And honestly, I timed the sale of the company on an uphill. That was pretty good. I was able to achieve a multiplier that I think is top for our industry. And John was even helpful, with that as well. So we used John from 2018, 19-ish through 21, but then I still used him as a consultant myself to bounce things off of. I think, quite honestly, I probably could have carved John into the business, but he was growing as well. We were in good shape. He did what he was there to do. Yeah, he was very involved, and that was another thing. I had a fear about hiring someone because I thought they may come in and try to impress you in the beginning. But John made regular visits. He was readily available. It's not just myself, but my team. He really won over the staff as well, and that's a hard thing to do. I had interviewed a couple other options, and I just don't believe they would have had the personality characteristics to manage or work with the team. So that was probably the biggest piece for me. I've actually referred John on to a few different businesses over the years because regardless of whether they're in this industry necessarily, sometimes people think if you don't know a plumbing company, you're not going to be able to come in and help him, and that's not necessarily true. I'm biased, but I think we work in our market, our business is so tough. And it's because in the construction industry, it's so tough. We manufacture a product that is custom. We've never made one piece twice. So I say all the time, I could go out and create another manufacturing business where we ship product out to a distributor, and that business would almost be like a cakewalk, I feel like. So it's a challenging business. In the construction industry, there are only two. That is countertops and cabinets, and those are the most challenging. Other than that, it's relatively easy. I would say, from my experience, I wasn't able to find somebody that was a better fit or a better personality to blend with my staff and myself. And he was able to help organize my company. He was able to strategically position me to a spot where I could sell my company or I could move my business along more profitably. I didn't even know what EBITDA was until John came in. I'm too busy in the weeds. I'm not a finance guy. He was able to break that down, explain it to me. He was able to kind of give me that path so that I had options, and it was worth every penny. The one thing I think that people have a hard time with is biting off the fee to hire someone, and I can testify that came back tenfold. Matter of fact, I had a number in my head of what I thought my business was worth, and it was double that.